Here's your KNDY updated weatherology forecast for northeast Kansas and southeast Nebraska. I'm staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Daytime highs approaching 85. Today, under clear skies, south winds 5 to 10 miles per hour. Clear skies again. Tonight, lows dip down to about 55. Ample sunshine expected. Tomorrow, highs around 87. I'm staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki. Right now, it's 46 degrees.
Kansas Mid-America Network News. I'm Andy Hoosier. As Washington, D.C. continues to battle about the migrant problem at the southern border, Congressman Tracy Mann from Kansas's Big First District sat down to talk about some of the issues he's been frustrated with, especially with the lack of the passage of the SAVE Act in the continuing resolution for this year. As he says, immigration should be priority number one on many legislators' minds.
Well, it looks like a lot of things, Andy. One, House Republicans voted for House Resolution 2, the Border Security Act, the most comprehensive piece of legislation that's been put together for a generation. It really is the roadmap for what we need to do to secure this border. In addition to that, we have got to secure our election. We did everything we possibly could do to attach the SAVE Act to a continuing resolution, to make sure that only American citizens can vote in our elections. And by the way, if you're not for that raises a whole bunch of questions.
Mid-America Network News.
Mega savings at the Rocktober sales event going on at Rusty Eck Ford. Rock out to over 400 new Ford vehicles on our lot and save up to $12,500 discount off MSRP on 2023 F-150. America's #1 selling truck for 47 years. Rock and roll with savings of 0% APR for 36 months. Or Rockstar savings on the 2023 Mach-E. 0% APR for 72 months. Check out our huge selection at amazing rates on over 400 new Fords with savings up to $12,500 off MSRP on 2023 F-150. America's #1 selling truck for 47 years. Only at Rusty Eck Ford. Visit Rusty Eck Ford or rustyeckford.com today.
Absolutely unbeatable.
Escape 1667 per thousand financed. Mach-E 1389 per thousand financed. Excludes 2025 models. Offers can be combined with approved credit. Must finance with Ford Motor Credit.
With the ongoing lawsuit in Marion, Kansas, after the Marion police chief ended up writing the newspaper in the community, the former Marion police chief Gideon Cody made his first court appearance on Monday in Marion County Court. KSN News reports that Cody is accused of interfering with the judicial process that led to the raids of the Marion County Records newsroom, along with the homes of the publisher and a city council member that happened last year. According to the prosecution in the case, Cody is accused of telling Carrie Newell to delete text messages after the raid on the Marion County Record offices. In other news, the conservation group in Kansas known as Common Ground at Capitol says they are concerned about the lesser prairie chicken in western Kansas, as they say that the animal is disappearing throughout the state. As Cake News reports that the Common Ground Capitol Conservation Program is partnering with the United States Fish and Wildlife Center, trying to create more prairie around the area to create opportunity for the prairie chicken to replenish its population. Kansas Mid-America Network News, I'm Andy Hoosier.
Danes Automotive and Tire in Waterville and Marysville is your reliable automotive repair shop. Servicing engines and transmissions, ACs, radiators, exhaust, and diagnostic checks. Did you know Danes does tires? Carrying all major brands and sizes from trucks, ATVs, trailer, and farm implements, Danes Automotive and Tire has you covered. With over 85 years combined experience, your locally owned and trusted repair and tire shop is Danes Automotive and Tire in Waterville and Marysville.
Nebraska Mid-America Network News. I'm Andy Hoosier. With election season gearing up, U.S. Senator Pete Ricketts from the state of Nebraska has said that he is excited to accept many different endorsements from law enforcement around the state, including law enforcement unions. As the Nebraska Examiner reports that the former Nebraska governor and current U.S. Senator has received endorsements from the Omaha Police Officers Association, along with the Nebraska Fraternal Order of Police, with the ongoing U.S. Senate race against Democrat challenger Preston Love Jr. Both of the law enforcement unions had said that Ricketts is the best choice for public safety, pointing to his support for state and federal funding to boost recruiting and retention of law enforcement officers around the state. In other news, good news for the state of Nebraska is the state may be able to hold on to many of the younger generation, as the latest statewide survey shows roughly 3/4 of students that have been surveyed see no negative stigma while returning or even staying in the place that they currently live. Mid-America Network News.
Every great sandwich should start with a great bread, which is why Mrs. Baird's puts as much care and pride into baking wholesome and delicious breads as you put into every sandwich. From toasted whole grains to natural honey and molasses, Mrs. Baird's breads are made from only the best stuff to fuel you and your family. So whether it's PB&J on whole grain white or turkey and Swiss on honey 7 grain, Mrs. Baird's has a delicious, nutritious bread to build it on. Mrs. Baird's, baking breads that taste great since 1908.
Reporting local news, I'm Bruce Dierking. Safety with the fall harvest is encouraged, with many farm vehicles and trucks operating on roads and highways. Caution is urged by drivers and farm operators alike. KNDY has begun airing a series of 4-H month salutes recorded by 4-H youth from Marshall and Washington counties. These will air in rotation now through the end of October. A 13-year-old girl from Beatrice was airlifted from the Beatrice airport after she was struck Monday evening while riding her bicycle. She apparently missed a stop sign at 10th and Arthur and was struck by a vehicle. A town hall meeting in Nemaha County will include information on a half-cent countywide sales tax renewal question on the November ballot that would renew a 5-year commitment with 55% to Nemaha Valley Community Hospital, 45% to Sabetha Community Hospital, toward capital improvements, equipment upgrades, and general operating expenses. The meeting this evening will be at the Centralia Community Center. Another is planned October 30th in Baileyville at the Highland Community College Western Center, with other town hall meetings this month in Corning, Sabetha, Bern, and Seneca. Community Memorial Healthcare will host a final town hall meeting presentation in Beatty at the Community Center at 6:30 tonight. CMH Administrator Curtis Hawkinson will be a guest on our Public Affairs program this Saturday morning at 7:10 on KNDY. During recent public meetings, he's urged support of the sales tax extension in Marshall County.
Sometimes we'll get asked a question about, well, what do you do with the money? And so it says, well, we use this to support the provision of healthcare services. So when we buy a piece of equipment or pay staff, we don't say the sales tax money is going towards this. I mean, it goes into our general fund, and we provide healthcare services with it. We don't isolate it and apply it to different pieces of our expenses, according to the ballot language. So we're asking you today to help keep our pulse strong here at CMH, to continue to do what we all love to do each and every day. We're not going to close tomorrow. We just ask for the support to keep us strong so we can continue to be as good as we can be and not have to choose between what we have and what we need to do to survive long term.
High school football homecomings continue Friday at Frankfort, which will be our Friday night feature game on KNDY FM 95.5, and at Hanover. Since Hanover schools are not having classes on Friday, their homecoming parade will be Thursday morning, beginning around 9:45 in Hanover Thursday. Patricia K. Pat Yeager, age 94, passed away September 26th. Funeral service Thursday, October 10th, 11 a.m. at Kinsley Mortuary in Marysville, with private family burial at Leavenworth National Cemetery. Kinsley's in charge of arrangements for Pat Yeager. Emma C. Brungart, age 19, of Blue Rapids, passed away Friday as a result of an automobile accident. Funeral service Saturday, 11 a.m. at the Blue Rapids School Gymnasium. Burial in the Prospect Hill Cemetery. Visitation Friday, 4 until 8. Family will greet friends Friday from 4 until 6 at Kinsley Mortuary in Marysville, in charge of arrangements for Emma Brungard. Lloyd Shubkagel, age 88, of Marysville, passed away Saturday. Funeral service Saturday at 2 with a visitation from 10 until 2 at Kinsley Mortuary in Marysville. Burial in the Riverside Cemetery at Waterville. Kinsley's in charge of arrangements for Lloyd Shubkagel. On the Marshall County Senior Citizens Lunch Menu today, chicken strips, a biscuit, macaroni and cheese, garden blend, and peaches. Tomorrow, a hamburger with baked beans, coleslaw, and cherries. KNDY News Time is 7:13.
United Bank and Trust has been fulfilling the banking needs of families and businesses in Northeast Kansas for decades. United Bank and Trust is always advancing, and now they'd like to offer a free mobile deposit feature within the mobile banking app. Endorse, click, and submit your check image for deposit. It's a mobile fast world out there, and so is United Bank and Trust, the bank of your future. Visit our website at ubankonline.com or your local branch for more information. United Bank and Trust, banking for your way of life. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
St. Mark's Lutheran Church Waterville will host their annual Soup Day Wednesday, October 9th. Serving from 11 to 7. Enjoy their homemade soups, sandwiches, and desserts. Free will donation. Soup Day at St. Mark's Lutheran Church, Waterville, Wednesday, October 9th, serving 11 until 7.
Here's your KNDY weatherology forecast for northeast Kansas and southeast Nebraska. Mostly sunny skies today with our highs in the mid to upper 80s. Mostly clear skies overnight with our lows in the lower to upper 50s. Staying sunny throughout Thursday with our highs in the mid-80s and lower 90s. Then mostly clear skies throughout Thursday night with our lows in the lower to mid-50s. Staying sunny throughout Friday with our highs in the upper 70s and upper 80s. Then partly cloudy skies throughout Friday night with our lows in the upper 40s and lower 50s. Still staying sunny into Saturday with our highs in the upper 70s and lower 80s. Then mostly clear skies throughout Saturday night with our lows in the mid-40s and lower 50s. Slightly cooler as we head into Sunday, some sunshine with our highs in the mid-60s and lower 70s. And partly cloudy skies throughout Sunday night with our lows in the mid to upper 30s. Still more sunshine as we head into Monday, even cooler with our highs in the upper 50s and mid-60s. Then mostly clear skies throughout Monday night with our lows in the lower to upper 30s. And more sunshine throughout the day on Tuesday with our highs in the upper 50s and lower 60s. I'm meteorologist Kara Foster.
Average high temperature, early October 72, record high on this date 93. The average low 47, the record low 19. With sunrise this morning, 7:31. Sunset this evening at 6:57. 45 degrees and a clear sky. This Wednesday, the 9th of October. KNDY News Time, 7:16. I'm Bruce Dierking reporting.
Hey, this is Morgan Reed. Medicare open enrollment is October 15th through December 7th. As an independent agent, I have access to multiple companies available throughout Kansas and Nebraska, helping community members that are on Medicare or will be soon. You can reach me at 785-727-4655 or find me at 815 Broadway in Marysville. Find your coverage your way with Reed Insurance.
The season will be on the line today. Good morning, I'm Jay Reynolds. All four of baseball's division series continue today. American League Series tied 1-1. The National League Series could end. Mets and Padres taking Game 3 last night. Padres a big second inning in San Diego.
The pitch. Swing and a ball crushed. Way back left field. It is gone! Off the facing of the second deck. Tatis does it again. 6-1 Padres.
All six in the second inning, and San Diego beats the Dodgers 6-5. They have a 2-1 series lead. Boog Shambi on ESPN Radio. Mets a 7-2 win over the Phillies. They're up 2-1 in that series. Mets hitting 6 homers in their last 2 games. The WNBA Finals are set. Lynx, Liberty. Minnesota beats the Connecticut Sun last night in Game 5. Lynx seeking their 5th championship. Liberty still looking for its first title, but New York opens as a big favorite at ESPN Bet. Game 1 tomorrow on ESPN. Game 1 for Utah's hockey club last night. Puck drops on the NHL season. Utah beats Chicago 5-2. Panthers a 6-4 win over the Bruins. Blues edge the Kraken 3-2. All 3 goals for St. Louis in a 2-minute span of the second. Football, the Jets fire Coach Robert Saleh.
The Jets fired the most unimportant person in their building, is what I thought initially. And this didn't start this season, Shay. It started when they started sending planes to California to recruit Aaron Rodgers to be their quarterback.
ESPN analyst Marcus Spears, defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich takes over as interim coach of the Jets, who play on Monday Night Football against the Bills. Saints quarterback Derek Carr does, in fact, have an oblique injury. He could miss multiple weeks. Speaking of quarterbacks, the Patriots are making a quarterback change. Drake May, the rookie, will get the start this week against Houston. Jacoby Brissett will now head to the bench.
It's time to shift seasons in style at Macy's Fab Fall Sale. Save on all the things you can't wait to wear, like shoe and boot specials 30 to 40% off, and coats for your crew 30 to 60% off. Plus, elevate your tabletop with hosting essentials from Gottinger, The Cellar, Thirsty Stone, and more 50% off. Even better, take an extra 20% off with your coupon or Macy's card. Going on now at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Good morning, Doctor.
Doctor?
Hi, Doctor.
Doctor? Dr. Jackson's practice is growing.
What do you mean we're still short-staffed?
He needs a good patient doctor.
How do we not have enough doctors to doctor all these patients?
And he doesn't have the patience to sift through hundreds of resumes.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, it's easier for talented candidates to find it, which makes it easier for you to hire them. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
From ABC News, Wall Street Now. Stocks hitting the middle of the week on a bounce. The market's getting back some of the ground they lost in Monday's sell-off. The Dow closed Tuesday 0.3% higher. The S&P finished up nearly 1%, and the Nasdaq closed almost 1.5% higher. Traders waiting for clues about where interest rates might go with a key inflation report due out tomorrow. 14 states and Washington, D.C. now all suing TikTok. The lawsuits filed in state courts accuse the video sharing platform of creating an addictive app that's bad for the mental health of kids. Boeing says the union representing 33,000 machinists isn't seriously considering its proposals. So now the company's withdrawn its latest offer and no more negotiations are planned. People cutting back on snacks means PepsiCo is cutting its forecast for the year. The drink and snack maker had expected sales to be up 4% this year, but now warns it'll likely be lower. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Recap at how things finished up yesterday. It was a mixed day in the grains and oilseeds. The row crop saw some weakness. However, the wheat market was slightly higher, a couple of cents into the green. It was a higher day in the livestock. Speaking of a lot of green on the screen, we saw October live cattle finish up $1 at $188.47. December was up 85 cents at $187.87. Into the feeder cattle now. We see October feeders up $147 yesterday at $250.32 per hundredweight. November was up to $250.30. That was $1.15 higher, and the hogs were higher. October lean hogs up 15 at 84.12. December up 35 at 77.17. And the grains and oilseeds now again yesterday meat market, it was cents in the green. However, through the overnight pre-trade session, we're seeing a pretty nice rally to start the day. That includes Chicago spring and Kansas City wheat. December Kansas City wheat currently up 9 at 6.12 3/4. March to 6.29, that's up 8 3/4 cents. Oats unchanged at 3.89 a unit. Into the row crops, corn is recovering slightly this morning. December corn up 2 cents to 4.22 3/4. March up 2 to 4.40 1/4 cents. And we see the soybeans also recovering a bit. Yesterday, a near 20-cent drop in some contracts, but November soybeans back up 5.5 at 10.22. January up 5 3/4 to 10.40 1/4 cent. December soybean meal up 2.60 to 3.25.60, and soy oil mostly unchanged, but December back up a point at 43.10. Cotton also higher. December cotton up 30 at 72.57. It's been an active week for crude oil. Big spike on Monday, much lower prices yesterday, and now November down 44 at 73.13. Unleaded gas is down a penny at 2.05 a gallon. Heating oil down 1 at 2.28. Natural gas down 2 at 2.71.
From Kansas State University, this is Agriculture Today. I'm Jacob Clout. Upcoming freeze events may provide the correct conditions for increased prussic acid poisoning concerns in certain plant species, says K-State Extension beef cattle specialist Sandy Johnson. She explains how the glucoside durin leads to this condition and its effects on livestock.
What's actually formed when this durin is activated by an enzyme is cyanide. And so you maybe have heard of cyanide poisoning, which can have very rapid and lethal effects. In some reports, a producer that rolled out a bale of forage that had subsequently decided had high prussic acid content, and the cows are just dead in this rolled out hay. It's hitting them that quickly as they're consuming it. And so brain tissues are not getting oxygen, and just depending on how rapidly that might occur determines whether it's boom, fall over dead, or, they wander around for a few hours, then fall over dead.
She discusses a list of feedstuffs that are associated with prussic acid toxicity and if it is present in hay.
The sorghum family, and, so our forage sorghum, our milo stalks, Sudan grass, things in that family all can have high concentrations of prussic acid. The dogma has been that once the hay is dried, the prussic acid is totally, this durin goes away. But if it's really high before it's dried and baled, there can very well be some still in that baled product.
Johnson shares how producers can test their field's prussic acid content.
Our best tool really is testing before we turn animals out. And of course, the other thing is if we're sampling a field that we're going to graze, we want to, try and sample the portions of the plant that the animal is going to graze. And so we're trying to think like the bovine and what's out there. If there's young regrowth, that's probably going to be attractive. The leaves are going to be more attractive than the stem. So you're trying to mimic that sampling and represent the entire field. It's not just one leaf or one plant. If it's a large piece of ground, I wouldn't want less than, 20 different representations of a plant that you're going to mix together. Depending on the volume of that, you may subsample it, but the sampling method and very, very extensive. The more you do, the better information you'll have.
That was K-State Extension beef cattle specialist Sandy Johnson on the dangers of prussic acid toxicity. I'm Jacob Clout. This has been Agriculture Today over the K-State Radio Network.
Midwest Land and Home will hold a land auction Thursday, October 10th for approximately 378 acres of Washington, Marshall, and Gage County land split into 3 tracts. Track 1 rests in Gage County, consisting of 159 acres. Track 2 sits in Washington County with 108 acres, and Track 3 in Marshall County with 111 acres. All 3 tracts are considered prime cropland, consisting of over 95% cropland acres, with a location north of Hanover, 2.5 miles east of Kansas Highway 148 on State Line Road. In-person auction held Thursday, October 10th at the Kloppenberg Center in Hanover. All Midwest Land and Home auctions offer a state-of-the-art online bidding platform with online registration and online bidders' terms due no later than Tuesday, October 8th at noon. For information or to view this exceptional property, go to MidwestLandandHome.com or contact listing broker Jeff Dinkenbring at 785-562-8386. When you want the best, trust in Midwest.
Is it a changing climate or just beavers? That's a question that may become routine for Arctic scientists. We will tell you why on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report.
Have you ever tried to buy gold and silver and felt like you were talking to a used car salesman? That's because the precious metals industry is like the Wild West. Salesmen can say pretty much anything or make any promise they want without repercussion. But Genesis Gold Group is different. They're a faith-driven Christian precious metals company and believe in educating their customers, not pressuring them for a quick sale. Genesis Gold Group focuses on customer service, not sleazy marketing. Genesis Gold Group is named after the first book of the Bible for a reason. Proper stewardship of wealth is their specialty. Find out why they've earned a 5 out of 5 rating through the Better Business Bureau and how they can help you secure your wealth or retirement through physical precious metals. Call right now to learn more.
800-603-5815. 800-603-5815. 800-603-5815. That's 800-603-5815.
With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Wednesday, October 9th, the 283rd day of the year. Musician John Lennon was born on this day, and America won the Revolutionary War when British troops surrendered at Yorktown on this day in 1891. While the theory of man-made climate change is still hotly debated, researchers have found that some of the evidence is being fabricated by another culprit, beavers. In a region of Alaska where Arctic permafrost is disappearing, it seems that beavers have learned that they can create an appealing habitat by damming drainage channels of dry lake beds. As a new lake forms, it degrades the ice-rich permafrost in the basin. Over a 17-year time frame, they estimate that 2/3 of the observed environmental impact has been caused by the industrious rodents. And that is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Learn more at almanac.com.
728 from KNDY, 45 degrees at sunrise. Highs forecast middle 80s for today with a warm-up through week's end.
Kansas Mid-America Network Sports. I'm Andy Hoosier. The Kansas City Royals are moving through their series with the New York Yankees as they are tied with the series at 1-1. Going into game number 3 tonight with first pitch at 6:08. The Royals beat the Yankees in game number 2 with a 4-2 victory as Salvador Perez ended up putting the 1 home run on the board for the Royals. It was all the 4th inning for the Royals, having all 4 points on the board that inning alone. The Yankees put on 1 point in the 3rd inning and then 1 in the 9th and final inning of the game. In other news, after their victory for Monday Night Football, the Kansas City Chiefs have an off week after their domination against the Saints 26-13 on Monday night. They are still undefeated at 5-0 now for the regular season and atop the AFC West. Their next game is set for Sunday for the afternoon game on October 20th as they head on the road to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. The 49ers have the Thursday night game coming up tomorrow night as they're on the road to Seattle taking on the Seahawks with kickoff at 6:30.
You're tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a comprehensive weekly look at the athletics inside the Twin Valley League. The TVL Rundown is a service of B&D Buildings in Axtell and the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf.
B&D Buildings of Axtell specializes in post-frame buildings. Give them a call for stud-framed buildings with complete concrete and electrical work included. It's one call to get the job done. B&D Buildings, specializing in post-frame building construction, plus repairs and more. Always free estimates. Give them a call. B&D Buildings of Axtell, 785-294-0147. B&D Buildings at 785-294-0147.
Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank. With a century of experience, you know you can count on us for convenient banking and personal service from people you know and trust. With extended hours and online banking for all your financial needs. Another reason to make the Citizens National Bank your bank.
Welcome into the TVL Rundown. Fall continues to roll on as we get into mid-October. A lot of good football teams out there. I know we talk Axtell Eagles all the time, but I think there's a team across to the west that's making some noise that you wanted to chat a little bit about.
Well, we don't give Hanover nearly enough credit, and I know they've got some big games coming up in the next few weeks. They go out and absolutely blow out Blue Valley once again this week, 46-0. They still sit there at 5-0, 4-0 in the league. Hanover is just in that unfortunate position where they're still burning up the world, but Axtell is right now obviously the name across the state. But Hanover's like, hey, we're still here. We're still a threat. And that's exactly what they are. I've seen some good football out of this Hanover team, and I'm just as excited for them as I am for the late run for Axtell this year.
I think we talked about it last week, too, the depth in the TVL. Not only have the Hanover Wildcats, who I think are probably now the second best team in the state, but a third best team too, Frankfort Wildcats. We're going to have them in a homecoming game this Friday against Blue Valley on FM 95.5. And Jeff, I think after that game against Hanover, not to say that's a forgotten team in the TVL, but I think that's still a possible team that can make some noise in a playoff run.
Well, and I said this on my show going into last week. I felt bad for Thunder Ridge because you knew Frankfurt was going to come out there last week and just play really, really mad after that Hanover loss, and that's exactly what happened. Frankfurt just rolled Thunder Ridge. We know that the Wildcats have some excellent quarterback play with Wes Anderson, the X's and O's guys with Nick Anderson, and all of the great talent that Wes Anderson has for targets. Frankfurt right now, to me, they might be the most complete team. And that's tough to say with all of the other talent we have. But Frankfurt might be the most well-rounded team of the TVL right now.
Not to be outshone either, the cross-country runners were in action this week here. I know there's a lot of good times there over at Centralia and a lot of names that you wanted to highlight here.
Well, yeah, they were at Centralia on Monday. And, again, a lot of good times. Mackenzie Baker, the senior from Washington County, finished in 4th place. She goes 22-12. Claire Bussing from Axtell, a junior, 23-04. Morgan Allen in 7th. Kirsten Robbins from Clifton Clyde finishes in the top 10. So a lot of big names. Cora Thompson, just outside the top 10 at number 12. She goes 24-14, the junior from Centralia. And on the boys' side, it was just as competitive. Gavin Shaughnessy ends up taking the title at Centralia. He takes a big run, 17-18 for Gavin Shaughnessy, the senior from Axtell. Titus Cobb from Blue Valley, a sophomore. Remember that name, Titus Cobb. 17-39-57 for 3rd place. Cohen Gerard in the top 5 from Clifton Clyde. Kabeb Zimmerman, who has been a threat all year. So plenty of names of the top 10 in the boys' race. 7 of them were from the Twin Valley League. So a very, very good day for the cross-country runners.
You can find our entire length episode of this week's TVL Rundown as a podcast at KNDYradio.com, as well as on the TVL Sports Spotlight blog. Signing off this week, we'll be back next week with another edition of the TVL Rundown. You've been tuned in to the TVL Rundown, a weekly comprehensive look at the athletics inside the Twin Valley League. The TVL Rundown is a service of B&D Buildings in Axtell and the Citizens National Bank in Greenleaf.
Marysville Bulldog football hosting Rock Creek Friday on AM 1570 FM 94.1 with Frankfurt home to Blue Valley live on FM 95.5.
KNDY.